Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to a new Mario Kart 64 tournament. Yeah, maybe some of you are still familiar and still remember the one try league we had on SpeedGaming. There was our first tournament on this platform, this channel. And yeah, since we are in quite difficult times, the community decided to do a spontaneous Grand Prix tournament, GP no skips, which is a known category of our game. And we already had a few races, but the tournament is really fresh. And this is our first restream, our first race on SpeedGaming, namely between Dan on the left, who is, let me look it up really quickly, I think number 4, yeah, number 4 on the worldwide no skips ranks, against Lewis on the right, who is currently in 10th, number 10 here on the leaderboard. So a really good matchup between these two, who are currently warming up. I'm Matthias, aka MK64MR, by the way. I will guide you through this match, and we will start very shortly. And this match is part of our group stage, which is very friendly to the players because it's just for having fun and warming up for the later double knockout stage. So this group stage will work for getting used to the category again if players haven't played NTSC GP in quite a while, and for seeding for the later stage. Yeah, both players have a sub 40 as their PB. Dan even has a sub 39. Alright, both players are ready and I will count them down. So the race is about to start. It's only one race, no skips, all 16 tracks in a row. So all cups. And I think Dan didn't start his timer. I can still sync them up on the first race. He spun out as well. So we are off. The timer on the left didn't start for whatever reason, but I've synced them up so you can still watch the race and use Lewis' timer on the right. And Dan has his first mushroom, which will help him a bit to cut in this grass section here. If you're not familiar with the game, these players are trying to do mini turbos all the time. Toggle the stick back and forth with the joystick. And we have sound on the left from Dan, so every time you hear Yoshi doing his happy sound, not this one, he got an MT. So he had already 2 spinouts, I think, and 2 mushrooms. So that brings him back really close, but Lewis with a slight lead, I would say. Nothing really special about Luigi Raceway when you play it non-shortcut without any skips. Just avoid the CPU items, the bananas and so on. Lewis must have gotten the blue shell out of the balloon, which is good for skips runs, but it doesn't help him in this category. And it's really close so far. He does the swag finish. So yeah, we don't have Dan's timer, but since I'm running this through a program to synchronize the players up, we are good as long as Dan's stream doesn't freeze. Oh, he has a very small lead at the beginning of Moo Farm. He must have been fast in the menu. I didn't pay attention to that. Was checking Dan, chatting with him shortly. So in the menu, if you hold the start button and mash A, you will get through a bit faster than normally. Oh wow, carnage! Dan hits a mole and Lewis gets struck by the lightning. So Dan actually did a mistake and Lewis just had the bad luck. You can have in a GP run a lot more RNG than in time trials, where this track actually is the only one with RNG because the moles are random. So Dan definitely lost less than Lewis, and he has a mushroom. Dan is the favorite in this match, by the way, but you never know with RNG what can happen. Of course, everyone has to finish first to fourth. If you rank out, you have to repeat the track. That would be a nightmare. So Dan gained about 5 seconds here, despite the mistake in the beginning. Lewis with bad luck, lightning on the second track is tough luck. I don't know the exact average, but I would say you get 1 or maybe 2 hits per 16 tracks. Rather 1. Alright, we are on KOOPA TROOPA Beach. The tunnel of the cave jump is allowed in no skips. And I'm pretty sure one player at least will go for a special trick at the finish to get an 8th place item. Watch the left. Dan goes for it. He stopped the item rotation a bit too early, I think. Lewis goes for it as well. Didn't work either. So if you time that right, oh, a little tumble from Dan, you will get a last place item because the game thinks you are in last place. Oh, Dan misses the tunnel. And Lewis overtakes. Dan gets the backup now, but Lewis in the lead. So you can trick the game here. Let's see if anybody can pull it off. Yeah, Lewis gets a star, very nice. That's the optimal outcome, but it's hard to handle. It's the fastest you can go. NTSC 150cc with a star. Really fast. And Lewis gets there clean. Then goes very safe. So that turned around the lead for now. Very nice race from Lewis. A great 9-second turnaround here in his advantage. Alright, 4th track, the last of the Mushroom Cup. Players are allowed to skip the ceremony afterwards. So they will reset the console right on the finish line or shortly after. Lewis has a mushroom, which is quite useful here. We'll probably cut to the left after the second crossing here, yeah. Dan also has a mushroom, fair. If the game can be fair, it is right now for these two. But keep in mind, Lewis already suffered 1 lightning. And he's still in the lead, so he did very well. The train is in the way a bit. Yeah, he went around. Dan goes. Wow, he went for the gap and did it. Very nice, risky strat. He slightly turned to the left while going underneath the train, that's optimal. You go a bit with the train. So great stuff from Dan. Definitely not easy. Okay, final lap. Dan is safe from any train. And he goes for the hill hops, while Lewis has a mushroom. Very high level race from both here. Oh, Lewis has to deal with the train now. So that brings Dan into the lead shortly. But very shortly, I would say. Because of the mushroom, he's right back. Puts his nose in front. Or rather, Yoshi's. And another mushroom. Wow, this is so close at the end of the mushroom cup now. Both with instant reset. Oh, this is so close. Great, guys. Dan definitely a bit more advanced in the menu, but it's neck and neck. Dan overtakes in the menu, you could say. Instantly zooms out as well. Lewis zoomed out a bit later. Playing zoomed out reduces lag mostly. And I personally prefer it anyway on NTSC. But especially on the tracks with moving obstacles and a lot of textures loading up, it is better to have your character small, being zoomed out. Alright, first lap, Dan gains almost a second. Lewis trying to get some speed item and he gets a mushroom, nice. Oh, Lewis spins out, recovers with the mushroom, goes for another item. Tatsamberg is a track where you can really go for the items without having the CPUs in their way. They don't grab the items there. And it's quite a basic track. So Dan, as the better driver, gains a bit, but spins out here. Oh, Lewis, that was ambitious, but he went around the truck. Lewis with the boo, he's safe from any accident now, can go through the bus here. And then with a very nice 224, gains 2 seconds on Lewis, but it's still a close race. 2 or 3 seconds including the menuing is not much. Okay, Fraps Nolan. Let's see the start here. A-B spin. And Lewis the same, even riskier. He went really wide there, but still okay. Wanted to cut as much as possible. Now the snowman field, some lag because of the triple shells from Dan. Not much though, it's marginal. Major tracks for lag reduction are Bowser's Castle and Donkey Kong's Jungle Parkway. So it would be optimal there to hold a banana or fake item behind you to zoom out even more. If you play on a Nintendo 64 console. We also have a few emulator players in this tournament who will get a 30-second penalty to outweigh this lack of lag, because otherwise they would have a huge advantage. The N64 hardware is just not good enough on NTSC, which is the fastest version, especially 150cc. So over the run of 39-40 minutes you have at least half a minute lost because of lagging. So Dan with the shroom now. Let's see if he goes for it, of course. See how clean he goes. Very nice. So he probably extends his lead by a bit. Almost 138. Yeah. A bit more than 2 seconds on top. But still in striking range, literally. So if he gets hit by a lightning or anything major happens, Lewis is right back. And Choco Mountain could be a place for that. You have to be very careful at one turn of this track, where tracks are right next to each other. The road can fall down there and lose a lot of time. There's no guardrail here, and CPUs like to place bananas and stuff. But so far very clean from Dan. Also good from Lewis. He loses a bit of time, not much, but it can add up little by little. Oh! Lewis with the spin out, but Dan goes down into the lake. And as you can see, Lewis is right into the race again. Almost dead even. Lewis with another spin out. But he's only slightly ahead, and the commentator's curse just runs into a fake item that was around the corner. Very hard to see. He's in 3rd place now, he has to watch out. Now in 1st again. But if you go into the CPU traffic and get hit, it can be really dangerous. If you rank out, if you place 5th, oh Lewis, be careful, 5th or lower, you have to redo the track. Wow, that fake item. So a few changes on this track. In the end, Dan gains 1 second. But a lot of stuff going on. And it's still fairly close. I don't know if Lewis continually loses a bit in the menu. The gap is about 6 seconds right now. Dan goes for the mushroom cut and gets clean. Used the mushroom beautifully here. Mario Raceway is one of the best tracks to have a mushroom on, to get the most out of it. He goes for the mushroom cut again. Very comfortable looking. Oh, but he shoots himself with a green shell. Sometimes these items are just not what you want. A bunch of bananas as well, if you're on lap 1 or 2. It takes some time to get rid of them. You have to be careful not to throw it in your way, in your own line. More greens for Dan. Lewis meanwhile has a boo. He can do the mushroom cut easy now. Easily. Yeah. So Dan shot himself with the greens once. And he doesn't reset. Very slow reset from Dan. So Lewis gained a bit of time there. You also have to be careful and pay attention to the reset. I experienced it once as well. In an exhibition match, forgot to reset because I was chatting with other players next to me, so yeah. If you're not doing these speedruns, oh Dan, be careful, very often, regularly, then sometimes it's not the routine to reset. Advanced technique to reset your N64 is using your feet, by the way. So your hands are free for button mashing and splitting. But yeah, we move on to Warrior Stadium. Oh, Dan, very close to tumbling. Then he tumbles here. He wanted to finish that MT. So, pulling in all the SMTs. Meanwhile, Lewis spun out. Trying to get all these MTs like you are used to in time trials can be very challenging here. Because of the speed difference. So sometimes you have to leave out some few MTs, and Warrior Stadium is one of the more difficult and technically very challenging tracks. And if you fail, if you really get off your line, it can be very costly. You can tumble, and yeah, the hills can send you the wrong direction. Oh, Lewis, very close. He also hit the wall in the end. We got lucky that he didn't tumble. Okay, so 2/3 done. It's the second longest track of this game. And then comes very close to the wall again, trying to do some pre-jumps. That's the time trial player routine of a top player. And if you do all these techniques right, Warrior Stadium is maybe the track you can save the most time on in a race against a lower ranked player. Lewis with a nice trans style there. Stuck to the ground, didn't get any air. I don't know how fast it is without a shroom. Usually you in time trials you use a mushroom there. Then it's definitely faster. Dan has a mushroom for the last part. Okay, so Dan is through. And Lewis loses about 3.5 seconds. He gained a bit on the reset, so it's quite close still. You can tell. The start of Lewis Sherbet land race is a good indicator here. Yeah, less than 7 seconds, and Dan, way too risky, too ambitious, fell into the ice and got out of the ice cube, which loses him even more time than on other tracks. And that brings Lewis into the lead. So yeah, these 6.5 seconds were nothing, or at least not enough to keep Dan in the lead, who is shrooming wildly and who has to catch up now. So yeah, Dan is very ambitious and on high risk again. Wow. He needs to catch up now, of course. Wow, there was a corner I didn't expect any fall, even if you risk. But he mistimed the jump a bit. Lewis ran into a penguin, and I missed what happened to Dan there. Maybe a fake item. But Lewis has a great lead now. The underdog is leading by quite a lot. So this is exciting to watch, because you expect, especially with the start, We expect Dan to catch up. He definitely has the skill to close the gap bit by bit. And we still have 6 tracks to go after Sherbet Land. So this is exactly the scenario in which the outcome is pretty open. Pretty unknown, I would say. Wow, that track cost Dan 15 seconds. Alright, Royal Raceway next. Lewis just reported, oh, the instant spin out. Lewis just reported before the race that he did a gun style. Famous shortcut here. Bragging rights. But let's focus on the race rather. So Lewis has about 9 seconds of a lead. And a mushroom to cut this turn here before the ramp. So that's nice for him. Dan also goes there without a mushroom. Tries everything he can. .48.40 for Lewis. Oh wow, yeah, then more than 1.5 seconds faster in that one. Does the U-turn very nicely. He's aggressive, of course. That cost him on Sherbet Land, but will gain him if he doesn't crash anywhere. Oh, Lewis gets the bad bounce. I think you can avoid that by jumping off the ramp. And it is important to know in 150cc to do that. In time trots you can just go over. So I didn't pay attention to Lewis splits, but I assume that Dan caught up a bit more. Yeah, it sounded like he turned down the track sound. Now it's up again. Yeah, Lewis dodging that fake item. He's aware of the CPUs. So Dan is closing the gap a bit. But that was a good race from Lewis. He still lost over 3 seconds though. So I would say it's about 5 seconds after this race. Lewis goes quite fast in the menu, that's important. You can still relax a bit, but keep in mind you have to mash those buttons. Okay, about 5 seconds difference between them, and Bowser's Castle is a difficult one. Much can happen there. Oh, Lewis beautifully through the tiny gap. Oh, but Dan gets caught there. He doesn't get squashed though, or squished. But he loses time, and the cycle for the thwomps is a bit off now for him. So that can cause more problems later. Very nice from Lewis, I have to say. It's not that easy to go through, especially in a race, in a pressure situation. He has a mushroom, very nice. He could cut over the grass there. The ideal spot. Second lap, and he goes through again. Very nice from Lewis. Whoa, that banana was close. These bananas can send you off, and you have no idea where they are. Around the corner and then straight into the lava. Lewis trails a fake item, puts it behind the cart to reduce some lag. Now he gets a new item, banana. He should not have dropped that. It's only a small time loss, but it is one. Thwomps were up on lap 3 for him. Oh, but he crashes once here. Oh, and he spins out. Luckily he stays on the track. It's still a decent Bowser's Castle, but it was a very clean one before. So difference is about the same. Maybe 1 second gain to Dan. Oh, Lewis, he chose 50cc. Ah, that's a time loss you can easily avoid. So now the gap has shrunken. So there was a menu fail. Wow, exact tie to start the last cup. So this is the laggy parkway, the laggiest track of the game. Both players don't have items to reduce the lag, but Dan has the optimal mushroom here. So he goes into the lead and Lewis should keep that banana. Oh, he spins out and gets stuck there, oh no. So Dan into a good lead now. Getting mushrooms here is very important. You can use it after the jump off the ramp or in the cave. Saves a lot of time. Oh, Dan with a very risky jump off the ramp, but he gets it. And had a shroom. So he pulls up a good lead now. Oh man, Lewis gets another lightning hit. That's not fair. That's the second of the race. I think Dan had none so far. Very unfortunate. And Lewis gets 3 triple green shells. 3. These triple green shells cause more lag, I think, yeah, so he should fire them. Dan definitely with more luck here. And better driving on top. And that gets him a huge lead, as you can see. Oh no, Lewis. He tumbles down. He already lost about 10 seconds, maybe a bit more. But now I think the difference was about 17 seconds. So suddenly Dan with a huge advantage. A very comfortable lead going to the Yoshi Valley. Wow, it's 19 seconds. Okay, Lewis has a boo. If he keeps it until the second lap, he can go safely and easily to the left where Dan goes now. Fastest path. Dan goes through the spinies, very nicely done. And a very risky hairpin jump. That's allowed in no skips. And spins out, and Lewis goes through the spinies, and I think he dodged the lightning. I don't have sound, but it looked like it. Dan hits a spiny but stays on the track. That's very important for him. So Lewis fighting the lightning, the weather gods here, and could hide. with the help of the boo. He goes big. Yeah, nice. Oh man, who placed that fake item there? Oh wow. He had the gap through the spinies, but there was the worst possible item. Fake item placement. So yeah, the last two tracks were really unfortunate for Lewis. It would have been really hard to keep up with Dan anyway, but with these items, almost impossible. So the gap increased a bit to 21 seconds now. I think the only scenario which can still help Lewis is if Dan falls down once here. The item placements can be very evil on Banshee Boardwalk. So Dan has to fall down to make it a close race again, I think. And if you fall down once here and you get into the traffic with the CPUs, it can be quite difficult to go in front and have a clean race again. But so far Dan looks really good. Yeah, well done. Dan takes his big lead onto the last track, Rainbow Road, where you can't really gain 20 seconds usually in no skips. There are a few chomps, so a close race could really go any side, any way. But he has a comfortable lead. Goes for all the things here. Oh, he gets a bit too much air. And Lewis also makes his way onto the Rainbow Road. With a deficit of 25 seconds. Oh, Lewis, no! There goes Lewis, way off the track. Oh man, that's a famous quote. I just adjusted a bit. And he spins out. So what he did, he turned a bit right when he became airborne, and that sent him off. Sent him into the space. So you have a long fall here. You have guardrails, but there are a few places, and mostly the finish straight, where you can fall off, or rather fly off the track. So I think realistically there was no chance already, but the Special Cup has been brutal for Lewis. Except on Banshee Boardwalk, he had tough luck and some mistakes. So the gap will probably be a lot bigger in the end than the other three cups showed. It has been an exciting race and very close at times. Lewis. I missed the first tumble. I don't know if he had green shells already and was just showing the approach to the skip there, the green shell skip, because he already gave up mentally. He doesn't see a chance, of course. So I only caught the second attempt with the green shell. Dan hits a chomp. Small time loss. And he goes into the final lap of this race. I have a bit of time to tell you more about the tournament now. So this is a spontaneous Grand Prix tournament which started a few days ago, and we will have a group stage of about 3 weeks. 16 players entered the tournament in total. Lewis hits another chomp, I think. And we have 4 groups of 4 people who will play once against each other before we go on to a double knockouts bracket, double elimination. And since we want to give everyone the maximum fun, nobody will be eliminated in the groups, but we will seed the bracket based on the group standings and then go on to a double knockout. So in mid-April you can expect the knockout stage to happen, to start, and then we will have knockouts and crown a champion. And Dan is on his way to the finish line, the last few seconds of this race. 39:43 should be his time. He had some problems to start his timer, but I synced them up, so his time is 39:43 if I saw that correctly. So congrats to Dan. That was quite an exciting race. I was hoping for that, but I had my doubts. I think Lewis played quite great, especially until Special Cup started. That was tough for him. Tough combination of bad luck and some mistakes. He tried another green shell, and 40:30 is his final time. So in the end he loses by I think 47 seconds, but it was tied after 3 cups. That sums up that this race was very close and could have gone either way, to be honest. If the lightnings had been on Dan's side, then pressure would have been even bigger. But yeah, this is Grand Prix. You never know with the item luck which way it goes. So that's it for this race. I hope you enjoyed that and like to see more of this tournament. We already have one more race on SpeedGaming scheduled, and that's between JDeco and No Harmony on Friday, March 27th at 8:30 AM Eastern Time, because it's Australia versus Austria. So an Australian guy versus European. That's the early time for all the Americans. If you have the time, if you are interested, join us again on SpeedGaming. And yeah, that's it for now. See you guys. Goodbye.